Hello, my name's David Joel, President of the Hampshire Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the latest video cast on what's happening with COVID-19. Again, a little bit of good news to start. I mentioned last week that business grants were starting to be paid. That is now gathering apace, and monies are now being paid to businesses if you're in rateable properties. I've spoken to local authorities. For those of you that are waiting, you'll have seen your applications have gone in. They're being processed in day application order. For those of you that haven't applied, you must. The local authorities will have written to you, so make sure you go to your premises, make sure you got the letters, and then, as we've said before, the process of application is really straightforward. Your local authority staff have been really helpful, both from an application point of view, but also from looking at the status of where your application sits. If you are waiting on the phone, use the ringback facility. That allows you to get on and do other things, and then when the staff are available, you can speak to them. They are working their socks off, so again, big thanks to the local authority staff for making this happen. Last time we gave you an update on the self-employed. That has been updated further since our last video session. The update is still a little ambiguous, although there is more detail. The support is based on 80% of your trading profit and any other income you might have, and it is capped at £2,500 a month, which we said last time. It will be subject to tax and national insurance because it is income. To qualify, the profit loss has to be due primarily to the COVID-19 situation, and there is an assumption in the support that you're going to continue trading, so you're not winding up the company. It has to be more than 50% of your income. If you're eligible, then HMRC will contact you. You don't have to contact them. But really important, to qualify, you must have submitted your latest tax return. That's the 2018-19 tax return. If you haven't done that, you won't qualify. If there's a gap whilst waiting, you still qualify for universal credit, and whilst it's not a fortune, it might get you across the gap. The HMRC's guidelines are saying that they're intending to start payments in June, and the payments in general will be based on 3 years trading profit averaged. If you haven't been trading 3 years, it's still a little hazy as to how that's going to be done, but at least 1 year may be used. The downside of 1 year is it may be an exceptionally poor year, or it may be a brilliant year, so it's not necessarily representative of what you might actually earn. As more information becomes available, we'll keep you posted. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, sometimes called CBIL. The scheme provides for up to £5 million in loans, and they're 80% government backed. They can be used for a variety of purposes, whether that's long-term funding or short-term funding, such as overdrafts or invoice discounting. Access to those loans has recently been expanded, so if any of you have applied and you were rejected, then try again. One of the concerns that was raised by a number of businesses was when they had applied for loans that banks were requiring personal guarantees. In the latest revision of the guidelines, if you're borrowing up to 250k, then personal guarantees are not required. However, if you're borrowing over 250k, then the lending authorities, banks, may require guarantees. Regardless of guarantees, you are liable for the debt. It's administered by your commercial banks, so if you've got a commercial bank account, that's your first port of call. Check with your bank first to see if they're one of the approved lenders. If they're not, then you can refer to the British Chambers of Commerce website for a list of approved lenders. One of the things you will have to do, and this is the tricky piece really, is you would have to prove that your business is viable. So it has got a future. Check with your bank first for the process, and as I said earlier, if your bank isn't doing it, then the BCC website is a good source for a list of lenders. In our last video session, I signposted to you that we were running a Chamber of Solutions panel. This was going to be a question time type activity where you could bring questions to a panel of experts. This happened on the 7th, went exceptionally well. The topic was employment issues. We had over 100 participants asking questions and sharing experiences. The feedback at the end of the session from the delegates was 100% positive regarding its usefulness and relevance to their current situation. There were some issues with access. We had, as I say, over 100 people waiting to get on, and for the next session we've now increased the number of people that can access the panel to 500 participants. Now the next session is on the 14th of April, and the topic is going to be businesses in distress and recovery plans and recovery approaches. If you want to register, check out the website for the details, and you can contact Ben McDonald at the Chamber, who will register you onto the panel. And before we finish, some of you may have received an online survey using the SurveyMonkey tool, and this is trying to capture your experiences to date with respect to the COVID-19 crisis. So things we're going to be interested in that survey is the size of organisation, whether you've furloughed people or not, any experiences you've had accessing funding, prognosis for your business, etc. If you could fill that in, that's immensely useful data. We will use that at the Chamber, but also feed it into national statistics. So if you could take a little bit of time to fill out the survey, we would be very, very grateful. So on that note, we're going to round off the session today. I hope you found the video sessions useful. Just remember, we've got the Chamber of Solutions panel session on the 14th, so please register for that. Stay safe.